Yeah, were you serious? I was jokingly calling it.
No, I was pretty joking too.
I'm definitely not going to back you on it being a serious statement.
Yeah? Don't think anyway.
But I did call it.
Yeah, no, just hold on to it for a second.
Yeah, and then it will be here, hopefully.
I need a table.
Yeah. Do you want to put places?
Oh,
Fine. The intention just testing my agility on my bung leg.
Will that work? Oh yeah. Is that alright for you though?
Yeah, you're fine.
You sure? Yeah. Okay, that makes my life easier. Thanks.
No worries.
Nice to
Have
have you
your
back.
pass?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
I'm
lucky.
associate now. Well, but you know, swipe in, swipe out.
It doesn't actually make any difference, I don't think.
Oh, good. Well, it makes a difference to my ego, but apart from that.
Hey, Joe Lloyd here. Kia ora. Hey, this was about to stand up reacting to Kenzie stepping down. It's going, we're live viewing it. Are we live viewing it to Auckland or Wellington? Both. We're live viewing it to both. So if you want to chuck that on the stream.
My video folks are at the
Okay, see you guys. Cool. Bye-bye.
BBC Facebook post that John Key might be resigning.
Who? Did someone say that to you?
Look at our own site, please.
I love that. It makes people, I'd resign to it, makes people feel
Yeah.
That would have been the clincher, eh?
We should have bloody asked him about that. Did Donald Trump cause this?
Just couldn't stand the thought of it.
About Trump?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, you got asked about that. That's in common.
He had one phone call with Trump and was like, no.
You asked about Brexit and all that kind of stuff. So that's right.
Don't take your nose now, it's going to be nothing off of that.
I was pulling on his last.
What a big dick. Of your nose, I mean. Jesus.
Where's Benedict?
Don't worry, I've sat in the front row with a big fluffy bike between my legs for about 45 minutes.
A big floppy.
Big floppy.
Oh, floppy.
Guys, love you.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, love you, sorry.
big floppy.
Sorry, they sound very similar. Floppy.
But I don't like Lloyd being here either.
Yeah, can you help me? Definitely.
Is he coming through that? Is he coming through that door?
Okay. Okay. Do you have it? Do you hold that? Yeah. You swing it up on there. I'll just hold it. Good. You keep holding it. I'm all okay now.
You got this.
I'm just slightly unorganised today. Not having all your gear in one place either, eh?
You what, sorry?
Not having all your gear in the normal places. It's like,
Yeah. It's actually trick that's locked us all in.
test, 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 test. Doesn't matter. They'll turn it up on their end. Well, then you've seen anything last time. Press it and see what it does.
But that all those people asking for invites.
I don't know how you turn it up. I think they can turn it up anytime. They can just do it anyway. There's no way of turning it up. Is it straight, mate? It looks like it's
No,
on a
it's
wing.
not. I don't know how to make it straight.
No, there's a little screw underneath it. Yeah. That there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Oh, Jesus. No, we're good. He's quite a big guy.
Stand on the couch.
This makes you look Haley Hopstead, the Helen Full story pretty funny now.
I know, it's just like, Right, everybody ready to go? So like everybody, I was taken somewhat by surprise by the Prime Minister's announcement today, and I just want to begin by saying, you know, the Prime Minister, the role of Prime Minister is a tough gig at any time. It is hugely challenging, not only in the role, but for family members of the person in the role, and I want to pay tribute to the contribution that John Key has made to New Zealand in his time as Prime Minister. Let's take the questions. It took me by surprise, like everybody. I got this notification, there was an announcement at 12:45 and waited to see what that was.
Mr. Key says it's for family reasons. Do you buy that?
I know from other people I know who've been in the role that it is a tough gig and it is tough on families too. So I respect his decision and it'll have taken all of New Zealand by surprise, but it is his decision and he is entitled today to be recognised and respected for the contribution that he's made.
He's been an extremely popular Prime Minister and regarded as a key part of national success. Has it made your job easier?
Well, he is entitled to be recognised for what he has done for New Zealand. He's been there at some pretty difficult times, the end of the global financial crisis, the various earthquakes that we've had. And I think this is a time to acknowledge that. New Zealand still has many challenges and we still need to rise to the challenge of 41,000 people who don't have a roof over their head, 45,000 people who can't get the healthcare treatment that they need.
Do you think it makes it easier for Labor next year, not having to go up against John Key?
Well, we are ready to go regardless. We've proven that. We proved it in the weekend. We proved it over the local government elections. I am ready to talk about what we need to do as a country to make sure that everybody does get a chance to have their own roof over their head, that people can get the healthcare treatment that they need, that our schools are preparing our kids for success. So I'm ready to have that debate at any time.
The next leader of the next Prime Minister will not be one who's been elected by the general public. Do you think that it is time to go to the polls and have an early election?
Well, what the National Party decides to do is entirely up to them. What I'm saying is that we are ready, we're prepared, we've proven that, and there are some urgent challenges that New Zealand needs to rise to, and I'm more than happy to have that debate as soon as possible.
Do you think that should go to the polls?
I'm ready to go and have the arguments and rise to the challenges for New Zealand as soon as possible.
I understand that, but I mean, do you think there is a case for an early election, given that it's now a caucus decision to decide who the next Prime Minister is?
Yeah, but in the end, it's the government of the day that decides that. Let them do what they like. What I'm saying to you is that whenever the election is, we have proven ourselves that we are ready to go. We can campaign hard. We've got plans for the issues that New Zealand needs to see fixed. Housing, health, education, the rising crime rate. We are ready to go.
What is John Key's legacy?
Well, he's certainly led the country through some pretty difficult times. He's been there at the end of the global financial crisis. He's been there at the times of national disaster like the earthquakes, and he's provided that reassurance at a time when New Zealand has needed it.
Do you accept that he's been a very popular leader? It's going to be a very hard job for whoever takes over?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly served the country very well. He certainly has had a lot of support. That's how you get to be Prime Minister 3 times in a row. So that's acknowledged. And today is a day to say to him about his service, thank you for serving New Zealand and for serving New Zealand well. But there are still challenges, and we need to rise to those challenges as a country.
He says that his greatest legacy is the way that he steered the economy. Would you agree with that?
Listen, I think people will have all sorts of tributes to pay to him and things that they want to say about his contribution. And I don't want to be any less generous in my recognition of his leadership and service in public office, because it is difficult. But I also know that there are some major challenges that New Zealand still has to grapple with. Our rising homelessness, our rising crime rate, an education system that is struggling to do the job that we need of it to prepare our children for success. So let's get on and start to rise to those challenges too.
Who are you picking to replace John Key?
Well, it's not my decision. I don't get a vote in it. That's a matter for the National Party when they come to do that next week.
Who do you think will do a good job of it?
Not my decision, not my choice. I don't get a vote. It's entirely up to the National Party.
Who would you like to go up against though next year?
Well, it doesn't matter who it is. I'm ready to go. The Labor Party is ready to go. We've proven that. We've proven we can campaign successfully and exceed expectations. And whenever that is, next year, then we will be ready.
What do you think it means for the opposition, the fact that John Key is so popular and won't be campaigning as Prime Minister next year? Where does that leave Labor, do you think?
Well, in the end, the country needs leadership, and there are some big challenges that still need to be addressed. So the issue is one for New Zealand and its people. who want to see some major issues being addressed. You know, the fact that there are people in our great country who are being left behind, who are being left out, who are being denied opportunity. People want to see, and people will have the chance next year when we talk about government and the next government to have that debate about who is best equipped to fill the gaps that have been left already.
Could this be your best opportunity, though?
Well, I look back at the campaigns that our party has been running this year, been very successful. We are equipped, we are prepared, we campaign well, I'm ready to go.
Do you think if he did stick around, he would be unbeatable at the next election?
We have been preparing for 2017 for some time. I've been preparing for 2017 for some time. There are some big gaps in New Zealand. We might be, you know, the economic numbers are looking good, but there are people who are being left out, people who are being left behind, services that are simply not up to the mark when it comes to looking after New Zealanders. And that's where we need to be focusing our attentions and our priorities. That's what we're ready to talk about next year.
Are
Do
you
you think National is a weakened side now that John Key isn't part of it?
I really just focus on Labor and its ability to campaign, its ability to pull together ideas and the plans we need so that we are a country that we can say of ourselves, everybody in New Zealand has a fair opportunity and a chance to get ahead, because at the moment we're not quite that country.
What was your reaction when you heard the news? What was the first thought that went through your head?
I was frankly surprised and thought, well, you know, this is an issue for all New Zealand. I think many New Zealanders will be thinking this is not what we expected, and it wasn't. But in the end, I've got to think further ahead. And New Zealand needs a leadership now that is about stepping up and addressing those issues of far too many New Zealanders who can't get ahead and who are being left behind. That challenge still remains.
Are you relieved you don't have to stand up against Grant Key at the next election? You must be so relieved that you don't have to do that.
Well, I'm very pleased at Labor's ability to campaign well, to campaign solidly, to campaign on issues that I know New Zealanders care about, and to win. And we proved that in Mount Roskill, and we proved it in the local government elections too.
You're not answering my question though. Are you relieved you don't have to go up against?
Yes, I've just said I back myself and I back the Labor Party. It doesn't matter who is there. My job as leader of the Labor Party is to make sure that my party is geared up, ready to go, and we are geared up and ready to go.
John Key said that he wouldn't, while he was Prime Minister, agree to any changes in New Zealand Super. Is it time now for a bipartisan debate about that, now that John Key's gone?
Well, what we need to make sure is that New Zealand Super is there for the generations coming through. Right now, you know, that is at risk. A government that has failed in 8 years to make a contribution to the New Zealand Super Fund, to back the seeker scheme, I think that is a worry. So I want to make sure that New Zealand Super is there for all future generations.
So what about the age of eligibility and indexation, which you said he wouldn't allow while he was in the
Yeah, I've been pretty clear. I come from a background of representing working people, and I know working people and thousands of them who struggle to get to 65 at the moment before they're entitled to National Super. The idea of lifting the age is a real step too far for just far too many people. It's not something I support.
So you're not open to a bipartisan debate, even if, say, the English or whoever's said it's
I want to make sure that New Zealand Super is there for all future generations. That has to be the objective that we have.
With John Key going and a number of his other MPs standing down, is Labor looking at any more further rejuvenation as well?
Well, we have a number of selections left to go yet, and there will be new talent coming in. And as we sort of go through that process, you'll see, you know, what that looks like.
Do you have anyone that do you think it's time for some of your MPs to go?
The MPs are making their decisions now about what they do, and we're on the hunt, or actually not so much on the hunt, we're in the process of putting in place our slate for next year. That process is ongoing, and that'll be all done and dusted early next year.
Is this the leadership team that you're taking in Annette?
Yep.
You initially sort of flagged as a caretaker deputy until midterm.
No.
You missed out.
There was another announcement at the end of last year. So we have led the party for the last 2 years, and we've led the party so that it is prepared and equipped to fight elections. And we've proven how successfully Labor is equipped and prepared to fight elections in the local government elections this year and the Mount Roskill by-election.
Annette, you've been obviously in Parliament a lot longer than Andrew has. How do you think this changes the political landscape with John Key standing down as Prime Minister?
Well, I think that politics is a very uncertain game, and you never know from one day to the next what's going to happen. So in terms of the landscape, hard to tell at this stage, but who knows what will happen tomorrow. So I've been around long enough to know that to expect the unexpected.
Can we expect any shock resignations from your front bench in the coming weeks or months?
On the front bench now.
You've worked, and you've been on TV shows with both Judith Collins and Paula Bennett. Do you think they could be the leader of National?
Look, it's very much up to the National Party who they choose, but I'm sure there'll be a competition of some sort.
Do you think this is interesting for the Courtney to what's been an interesting 2016?
It's been a very interesting 2016, here in New Zealand and abroad as well. It is a very unpredictable year.
Can you just look down the barrel of the camera and give a message to the Prime Minister?
To the Prime Minister, John Key, you have served New Zealand with generosity and with dedication, and New Zealand is entitled to your thanks for the contribution you've made.
If there was one thing you could say was John Key's legacy, what would it be?
I mean, he's done a lot of things. He's led the country through, as I said, some pretty difficult periods, and given reassurance at times when the country has needed it. And he will be remembered for that. And now the challenge is for us to rise to the remaining challenges that we face as a country.
Do you think he's been New Zealand's most popular Prime Minister so far?
Well, going back to Sir King Dick Seddon and all that sort of stuff, yeah, I haven't totaled up the popular, I haven't looked at the Roy Morgan poll for King Dick Seddon yet, so we'll have a look and compare the numbers.
Thank you.
All right.